hopa who goes and kabefa de amount. And Celtic. Am a man for dear papa Celtic and Ian and Europa League in the Conference League matches be brave. Say obey 5 pet. Now dear Gusuno. In Yasam 20. You better trust in a room. Now ya show baby I'll be to me running at the teams no a mob of matches kakra so you will base on that and analyze these games. Son a bear also a bad guide. Now also what to me I then I selected a teams no now also wash media minimum say Europa League any Conference League and a mommy D 400 us last season 400 us and it no and last season me to me then a D ya and yama then a command a Europa conference team you do one mammy fan yagro ti be real sa matches nim na ya bobo so ne a chew teams ne strength leagues no league no mo bonus strength ne so den account ti ye be hwe ne ye de hu komo na fe de aka kire ne nyina no ye tumi e de abo na bibia so na tumi ade akoye my bet.africa tv my bet.africa tv hu komo e na ye be di no eye ene hwe no so se my bet abase oba na wa be choose be bia udi chese udi better omo betua na afi omo tua so a so usabe kan usika na afi wo de aye de opese wo de den wo de ye ti join the show no live e wo my bet na what ntemu now the Africa na den atwa so my bet MYBET na what ntemu kakra now the Africa 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 na afi awon so no wabo modern na wa join na afi bibia so etumi akoye so na street is watching street ni watch it street no yeden watch it to join here ho na afi ABN Radio 1 my bet online radio e course o so na my bet shops ni nyina ye da so potwi manfo dodo na hwe yen yasem keto akra fi uko YouTuber ho na my bet.africa tv my bet.africa tv bomodia na join here ho na afi bibia so na yeden ntimi koye bia black market ne course no nene my bet for send me message say my bet Africa any almost welcome back in touch one I am a username. We have a special reward for you to claim your free bet. Chat with us here and on my channel and on my mama. Your special code is me more special code no be mo your bad pa enti on be direct scan to add to my account to me tell what and my bet for some more mami ska omo dimia ebe ya ba omo si omo chemiska ti so omo chemiska dia ene na me faso so ai de double ska no na bibia so atumi aden atumi akoye ti bomo dia na my bet for yen den anhwimbo join your Telegram account no sports arena me say dey sports arena money man yen ransom ni mo yen ransom ni mo before then I was saying my bet education no kakra na fe yen koso
yes inti yen my bet education I wonim say na send at least to work me so receive the same message inti che say my bet for work come here season na sha here
yes
o me hu say first round na nko yi ama inti ene o mo man kakra na ya den yen so yetimi afiska e o my bet.africa inti ene so won so receive message na ni je nko a ska e na my bet for the amount say ba be we weekend mu fi ochina na matches ne start na won so fa hihye kakra senia ye ba be we won so benya capital kakra e di ewura season nti my bet dey senia time be di omo nkomo no omo ye one of the best betting companies akwan bia so no omo giska wo ho no omo sa ma obi na won so de ye den o de sha ase biom eno na efe no onuado nti se opese o join my bet na won so messages here ye nya with free bet won so nya bia ko www.mybet.africa top right corner be hu icon bia circle ni green umia so a ubehu login and register join ya mia register ne so three simple steps now so aba become ebusuano. The first one your phone number of your mobile money transactions uboshemu a no afid we mia next one your username betime use nickname fi edin bia pese we use but say obo edin no mo ka so bia use de da now the number ba ko mienu aka ho na ma na ye unique ewo omo platform ne so the next one a password be use a password any confirm password add the cro into bo password new you no about confirm password no about the same thing e ho umia we are bo register ne so no ma send the verification code now that verify your account now so about be ken busua no o verify we no anu no my bet busua about be kan ene omo ka chen say ye ba be real season no say teams no omo timi hye 2 ni aba beti ashom nti early payout na option omo dey ma weekend di team bia betwa ne chi no wo hye team no straight winner Chelsea ni West Ham where Chelsea straight winner ya 1.25 wo hye early payout ya 1.24 emu enso bia sa nti wo fa Chelsea straight winner e wo early payout side na unso wo dem Chelsea bo 2 goals a eno an wa fa osika eko na my bet e dey my aka bonus o long bet a obeye no minim say bi mo manage long bet ho pa o long bet selection no o ye no no munsu peja bonus no nti ubenya up to 1500% na o bonus no mo ayedu no etimi afis ka nti umpe we opeden join MYBET.AFRICA na unso fiska e o mo platform ni so
yes join MYBET na unso fiska e wo mo platform no so na bibia anye den enkoye nti bo mode a se obe register no na the most important no mo menhwe the current news
yes
cause
yes
as a disappointed Tottenham Hotspur supporters pa
no I don't think so we disappoint you
so oji omo ayitumu
yes but uhwe eze nso a oye a die hard Arsenal fan nti eni say Arsenal bo we ma kwan bia so no obetimi ebeba no nsensem ni aba be cheche ahwefo mu yi ade nti a ye kasa Enzo Maresca edi nkomo when say Chelsea game beba so ochina omne West Ham against their former coach Graham Potter nti eni ni nkomo a wedidi wo press ni mu nyina ne kwa akosi say eni player friend Nicholas Jackson eni Christopher Nkunku wa mo bi ate ase say as at now no still players ne find a solution to transfer now to stay at Chelsea now to ono as a coach in the ohun say these 2 players kwan bia so no some be find a solution outside the club a bit me abom in their development and also in their time in football and I think say we obi say Nicholas Jackson last season obi enim say BBC bit me aba na me say kwa me ya say an African player getting the chance to lead the Chelsea line for 2 seasons na the 3rd season e bia wetima beefy up na ene nko the goals ba be ka Chelsea team ne ho na ene wa be surplus to requirement e wo Chelsea squad but I think say Nkunku dey no be enim say kwan bia so no before the beginning of the season then keso timija na Chelsea team no kra no in long term on come plan no but I think both players osha omo potential omo bibia ene betimi abom modern wo every club you be move yakọ Nkunku dey I think with Bayern in common so as of now Nicholas Jackson now there have not been any interest or big interest from any club bia ekoso enye mo say at the end of the transfer window say Nicholas Jackson intimi enya any suitable club obetimi meet Chelsea targets now Chelsea be on Madrid say they will integrate him back into the squad and allow him to play. I think we're a fine player with talent. The only issue every time me work with Nicholas Jackson here the seriousness on the pitch me who say do baby I grow on the door so but I think say this is also a good stage for him say if so Timinya chance ni integrating it back into the Chelsea setup now he will take every opportunity being given to him and he will be one of the best players or saying the income for Asilmino say a young boy training or born home or then but who's a player and here a lot of game time and income of course the crime be as soon loan move there ebiometi me ahwe amanako na me hwe say at least with the loan move beba some of the Premier League clubs eso mutimi borrowing etimi befa player for na Silmino and Chelsea nso be na adwen say ono nso be keep a player like that so to me that Premier League experience no to me but under maybe any of the coaches in the Premier League buano with the development coming back to Chelsea but and now no paying komo e cost on say Dortmund and now borrowing so munya Silmino loan omope into a young chap going to the Bundesliga and see a good development stage emano in the next 2-3 years to come so intimimpo ambenya Chelsea team I think you get a good club to
what does it bring as a defender the ball net is saying Kobe or Honoma what did but onim
yes Oshe Asilmino ne or a young player bia or a very good on the ball I think that was the reason in Chelsea team Mwekofano he's very good on the ball on the passing range I think Ubisame the level of player makes me not compare Ubite Liverpool but Liverpool when a name kaka because when it comes to game time any BBA but I think say one thing that India and Boani say what Chelsea team more they are young players coming up they are young players so they have gotten the opportunity to play and they are playing so well and now Oyobia he's a right-footed player Otimibo that is a centre back role Obetimi so about as a right back and so but I heard the Chelsea team this year
is he a left-footed or right-footed
no right-footed player
okay
yes but Otimibo left in so kaka and he can play as a right back but Osha Chelsea right back position now Gusto Reece James space in Hosa and that defensive that's the centre back roles and the likes of Liverpool Leslie Fafana mu na agye hɔ. So Chelsea ehwɛ no as a long term project or a 6-1 into utimu say height and so on the side kakra. Into meaning say omo hwɛ so onye a good loan spell returning say omo hwɛ na still he's not a player they can integrate into the squad and they betimi agya ne kwan at a good fee. Ohwɛ sika Chelsea de kofa na was 14 million. Into any so oba maybe a performance no still they can't integrate him into the squad. No betimi agya na manakwa. Obetimi aba be a good addition to any club in the world, I think, or quality or experience. Obetimi aba ne homodin. Indra obi a no share like social media blogs ni nyama a lot of posts about player friend in Siso. Ene wa joining Strasbourg any Chelsea. Na statement about Bontini and more of wa joining Strasbourg any Chelsea. Emma na nkofu bebre peja concern say omo hu bi da say player timi joining 2 clubs ebom sa. Ene o share the player or one player bia listo on nyame anim no the time of joining Brighton. He's one player so up quality on the ball or a very creative. Adeba kwa many gene ho any short. It's a long range shot. I think in the Premier League last season, obi eni average a long range shot under 90 minutes or within 90 minutes same boy we. Okay. Obi who that crucial goal or shot against Pitford. Omni Everton time and no loan or Ipswich. I think what ball shot to be free to we no coach here Pitford because we shots na no wedding. And he's one player.
And it's not only about them. Omo be share Chelsea or Stamford Bridge.
About another long range shot. Yes, so or a player be a long range shot, free kicks, and in nyama creativity. He adds a lot to his game. But I think say Senka deserve Gusu or Brighton and he will be an integral part of their setup. Okay. But deserve Cohen, he hasn't had the chance to feature in Brighton games. In Tuchel last season, we knew a lot of games. Some didn't call loan or call Ipswich. He added 1 or 2 goals. It's me warm. Now, Chelsea and Strasbourg need me abuwe mo makwakofa this young player aba join him. Na ebe remu ewo ne we ni informations kakra obi tie obi bisa se player we a player ben. O share ne career Brighton last under De Zerbi onya that is 26 games on the first week no share 4 goals with 3 assists. In the 2023-2024 season, Wintimi and Shego and Oma 2 assists. And now Odiko alone, Ipswich share no team share 2 goals, about 13 games and no share 3 assists. Into share the game now, on your player be mostly or share goals, but need any creativity. Into most of Senna name draw boss on player be obet might create a lot of chances. Obet might create a lot of chances, but create chances now. Omo be converting no. Now ba be a problem. Into who say ne start no was through ye. Yen hwe the season short map. And no end that so or a player be last season in one about 42 shots. Now the 42 shots no the regular play shot to Timmy boy that is 39. Fast break say be a waji ball no Daniel ball shot e move 4. And from corners no about 3 free kicks to Timmy ball 2 set pieces 2 or a player be a ball left and right now so he moving to Strasbourg Adeba kwa about one development and him said the French league be a we Paris Saint-Germain we Marseille we Monaco Strasbourg na the other team on so etimi aden etimi show dominance kakra ho so the performance e wo ho etimi boa no bi bisa say with this quality saying na Chelsea and Strasbourg timi nyan 20 million package na Chelsea and Strasbourg etimi aboma kwakofa no na ekwa si say add-ons and bebim I think the add-ons are very achievable Emma team and friend Strasbourg and Chelsea now there is a sell-on clause and no nam so ma Brighton etimi giant man koy in 2026 season 2027 season obetimi aba be join Enzo Maresca boys no ama bibia etimi akoyi to share picture that's why o she Chelsea JC half no share Strasbourg JC half e che say omo no mabom e no makoto player that's the blue co e no mabom to player nei Strasbourg next game on betimi abon why the medicals were landing and nei obewie no etimi akọ France akọ join yom ama bibia enso etimi akoyi wo yenhwe eberechi easy I think Tanya kind Tottenham for fans ni be breedja. Na dey nti o medwa ni say no munim say kwan bia so no is a player bia nko beba be join you ama bibia etimi akoyie but Indra na me minim na me hu this foul play kakra adenti ana me kasa ni say Indra me be di nkomo say Kai Havertz prior no Arsenal forecast say so mtimi real market no etimi kofa another attacker be come team no because say Kai Havertz ni ho a kwan ne betimi aboa that is Victor Gyökeres anymore. na upe player bia otimi ball a lot of roles. He's very good on the ball. The who said there are a lot of conversation with Vincent Krabet na ha ba say Odegaard creativity ne do baby or a lot of questions especially the way or distribute balls than analysis to be they delay on the ball. Or be a friend, play a friend a very easy. One player, but the creativity he's up there. Okay. Crystal Palace, Opelbia Mateta mo, they enjoying their football and also scoring a lot of goals at Ejina, a very easy. So any Arsenal for 80 boy room 80 million. Send our kind of Ababe and same baby, wapene personal terms with Tottenham. Not Tottenham for boy, some this Kabekwa Koma Crystal Palace, nay, wait me joining. This is a boy, free in color brim. He has been a die-hard Arsenal fan. Now, at the age of 8 years, and Arsenal for a signing if we a Sunday League team, a back joining on youth side and now almost has some bit me developing into one of the best players in the world. Now, a do baby no d 13 years no. Now Arsenal for who said there be the academy no. O modern born so inisa inti enya e beja okwan ama wonso wetimi akwa kope baby akwa kobo. Inti no Arsenal for ja ne kwan at the age of 13 na video bi o ye wia mema virus e dey atodwa na obi ahwe o say eno na one of the saddest moments in his life. Say club wa support free nim call abrim na nyame aboa na man etimi enya chance etimi wura ho say nei onu nso betimi abo as e support club na ene wenya chance ebo eni gie keke because ball no enye sika na ma obo enye bibia na ma obo eye odo na wo ema team no ena ma ogina park ne so bo nti Arsenal release na ene yayi enam no so no ena afide ono nso de to an nyama so okọ that is KPR enam so ano de be pie Crystal Palace nti ene Arsenal for ndrom hu so mu hi attack o mu we mu no so mu betimi a match that is the offer Tottenham e de eba no now I wasn't surprised say is a bigger Tottenham ho etimi a join Arsenal na yen hwe oba Arsenal no den eno betimi de aba be join Arsenal team we yen hwe ne stats kakra eba ne passing any also possession we ewo Arsenal team ewo Crystal Palace that is last season eba no assister o ma 8 assists last season we share the likes of o ma 8 assists last season we hear the likes of we a friend saying Mateta mo enjoy because of the link up plays na or the mom Emma Bibia etimi koye he's one player ni possession play say ni team ni ejina ne so mo no so ni modern ball tibetimi dia boa ama Bibia koye no otimi ye Emma team ni performance enso etimi koso intino he adds a lot to his game especially with performance wise inti wo na assist 8 assists ni expected assist na nke so ye for the season 4 inti meaning say overachieve ni expected assist also on the season. The successful passes 745, 81% successful passes. Adeba ko timi born ho modern. Adeba ko a me pese Arsenal fans bebre ni je nyama mienu chances created and now successful crosses. Ohwe Arsenal team no ma the likes of Martinelli, the likes of Trossard and then some percent Victor Gyökeres etimi the best season na omu hia player bi obetimi across the ball anymore no etimi find it that is the player friend Victor Gyökeres or any chances creation last season creating a lot of chances than any Arsenal player even Odegaard even Bukayo Saka so adding a player like Eberechi Eze to their setup near Adeba ebetimi abom successful crosses 29 and na chances to timi create also 58 ohwe ne dribbles ohwe ne touches in the opposition box ohwe ne touches obi anim say edu be a start say no edu be a deceive kakra but so ohwe is a ball obi ohwe Crystal Palace against Chelsea na the toughest player Chelsea for no na they were finding it difficult to mark enya Mateta it was easy Reece James trying the best onim say Reece James a player bia o ma that quality up front otimi making sure say defensively so good etimi cover ma ezentimi enya ni days about a free kick or share against Chelsea which the goal was disallowed into any Arsenal make us say out of them signings on my yet this whole season and at this whole transfer window this is one of the best signings at Arsenal because we had the likes of Noni Madueke Mubim the likes of Norgard Zubimendi Victor Gyökeres Moba but this player brings a lot of creativity in their setup obetimi abo from the right obetimi abo as the number 10 and he say Odegaard form n'intimi and do that level of pair he can come in and perform so well ama bibia timi akoye nti I think Eberechi is joining us now one of the best transfers for us now. And today, after being sacked from the academy, wasan back asan ba join the team now bibia betimi akoyi nti say virus the video ni beto so ni interview that was time and all Crystal Palace and no din komo concerning Arsenal or joining any free on send any ya no na ahwe phone so etimi ahwe wi ani aba Arsenal sika sen no ma spend this transfer window and Arteta ba ya nkasa sika sen no ma spend and na me no so trophy sen and no metimi enya during that period.
Probably the hardest. My dream is to play for them. So hearing them say no at 13, that was tough. And I remember like training after I got released and couldn't like focus. I was just crying. I was training like balling. Probably the.
Okay, inti any Arteta joining Arsenal list to you can't almost spend it. The last time we win a major trophy, sir. Coaches, we top 5 European leagues and I am stretching mumpo and top 10 European leagues, sir. Meaning the virus the better so am I. Arteta be joining Arsenal was spending 1 billion in player signings. Ene omuntimi enya a major trophy. Udi eze sika ne ka ho a ene kodu 1 billion ne sir. Coach a otoso second Simeone. Ono so spend 535 million ewo ho. Introduction between Arteta and Simeone or that second almost 400 and a chom 400 plus and a chom as top coaches must spending more in the season. And I think say Arteta and the Arsenal fans no at the pressure ye better so because any Victor Gyökeres ababe join team no Victor Gyökeres ababe join team no Eberechi is ababe join no guard aba Zubimendi munaba and they are looking at say and you're just spending but they need to win major trophies. Major trophies are made home come the Premier League, the Champions League, maybe the FA Cup, be classified as a major trophy. Into going into the season, pressure better Arteta so ye pa because they say Berechi is a meaning they spend 1 billion in transfer per coach was says capa on transfers. Pep Guardiola and that fourth Unai Emery and that's third. Niko Kovac and that's fifth so Arteta and the Arsenal fans need share how much they've spent time Arteta be joining. Meaning say at the end of this season, at least they need to add a major trophy. I think Arteta nankasa no nim. And we know the likes of Eberechi, the likes of Noni Madueke and Victor Gyökeres ababe can attack one. He's looking at going into the season. Obetimi abon home that major trophy I may see Arsenal for a longer time no. Obetimi edi ababe kan ho amomo.
All right.
Yeah, listo mami chat for na me for cover. I think say there's a lot of transfer news but I think Chelsea finally Renato Vega and another report in about said they've sold him for 25 plus some either 4.5 close to 30 million in add-ons and with 40% in a year onwards transfer. I think that 40% in said if they sell him for 50%, Chelsea is getting 40% of a year the amount now or more Villarreal from a terminal. The 40% Chelsea will be from their scanner Villarreal for the better Abrantem. So 40% of scanner Villarreal for the better a year Renato Vega will be the amount on the and you see when Enzo Maresca meeting or said they are solving the center backs and in the press conference or against West Ham game they are solving the center back situation internally. And then Chimadu said Chelsea are not going to buy any defender, and the sporting directors Amana Eclair said they are not going to buy. And I mean they had reasons why they are not ready to spend because already they believe that they have Asel Disasi and they have Renato Vega, who are center backs are Omotomo just last season. So if we are going to buy these defenders, we saw them to be very cool because Renato Vega was coming in as a left back and as a left center back. So if Renato Vega and our Juventus were back, then na say Liverpool were prayer. We have to find ways and means to solve these issues. And you see, if you look at the Chelsea defense now, Medikaka, although the coach had said, say, apart from Runa, Liverpool or Ebono, he see only Tosin Adarabioyo to be the only fit for that role. And against Crystal Palace, I mean, a champion and Chaloba played. They didn't play according to how Ebian Kebepese Chaloba called Bebon. But then there was an improvement that if you are going to go by this, then players Ninya or more Vim and whatever it takes for them to play at the highest level for Chelsea, they can do it. Renato Vega, Medica explained, he said the reason why boy in the coin is even he looks at the Portugal national team from him moving from Basel to Chelsea. Or back at the stage you do webinar and the Portugal national team be a friend man about matches nibi. So your Portugal national team now the left back row and sometimes in the Conference League that midfield row now man bono. He believes that in the Portugal national team he can only get playing time when he's playing as the centre back. Because left back row no, he cannot own team into Nuno Mendes, and he was getting not so. If he wants to get called up to play for the Portugal national team, it means that he has to be playing at the row. The coach, who is so betting about Portugal national team. So that is why he opted for either a permanent sale or a loan to Juventus or call Juventus for so they couldn't make the deal permanent. And then call Quatico. But Quatico had different player. And then they tournament Villarreal. This is a player Chelsea bought for 12 million, and now they've sold him for ×2. And I think that they are doing a very good business. In fact, people are not even talking about the sales they've been doing, and I think they'll say it's not about Mabaso because when they buy players worth 1 billion, and they were buying players, Jamie Carragher, Pandits were owned at Chelsea. Why do young players keep on going to Chelsea? And I mentioned it, they top players. Right now they have a sister club in Strasbourg, so they will buy players. Yeah, they will benefit of potential. Yeah, they will buy a team. Then if you are able to enter into the setup, fine. But if you don't enter into the setup, they will find ways and means to sell you to get their money back or get even $1 million or a $2 million profit on it. And to look at the signings they've making. Players are not players are they will make sure that at least they will get million profits be also just to balance their books. And then they currently checking the Premier League. Chelsea year sales close to 200 million, but then almost sales of Masanso and so close to 200 million. Yes, still they have Kane Chukwuemeka, they have Nkuku, they have Nicholas Jackson, they have Raheem Sterling, they have Asel Desasi, who is very close to joining Bournemouth at this stage. And also Chilwell, any other players that if they're able to offload them, they will get a lot of money. A bit more. So I think the business aspect in the Americans phenomenon was they know how to do the business. Maybe people might see they were not in the football business for long, but then in marketing, there's nothing like wow, you are not dealing in football. Once you over now when you have people or more football knowledge to help you make the necessary signings, now more taking the marketing and the business aspect now. I think football business is the same, but just that the approach and ways and means on the end. So they are doing a very good business. But now I hear clear said Chelsea is not going to buy any centre back, so they are going to rely on Chaloba. And when they can say, if you look at players be more hard, and they Rasmus Højlund and Listo. Ni due to Napoli and AC Milan for Akako signing Victor Boniface. So it looks unlikely say Obeko AC Milan. Now the likely move for Rasmus Højlund Napoli. And now move no Akako. In fact, Man U need Napoli for no reaching an agreement on a loan with an obligation to buy. But Listo, boy, and they say he doesn't want anything on personal loan be no assign back to United. Right now, United for now say they don't need him and he wants to move on. So Rasmus Højlund, between Napoli and Man U, they've agreed say player no they be corner with an obligation to buy. And you see, people should know say obligation to buy you have to meet certain criteria you as the player and send a bit more trigger that obligation for the club to sign you. Now player say he doesn't want any obligation to buy, and this is a player he's well like the Serie A league and playing as a two top for Napoli league. I think it's a bit more, but in fact I'll be very happy saying Kobe joining Napoli. If you're going to join Napoli, you have Scott McTominay, and in fact you have Kevin De Bruyne and Anguissa playing behind you. I think so. You'll be a lot of chances created about him that year. So it is going to be a stepping stone for No Rush Hoyland. And when they can't say there are some players they joined some teams at the wrong time because boy Atlanta out by United. The potential was so high. In fact, Oba United and the Biamekano, when he came to United, the first few games, especially in the Champions League, they started comparing this boy to Haaland. And yes, be Oba, right from the onset no Besai. I can make an example like Obisi Timo Werner. Timo Werner by in the first 8 games, part to no goals. But the moment Oba started to say chances, crucial chances are pressure never bounce. That is it. Obizabara Morata. I remember very well Morata ne Romelu Lukaku in that season. Chelsea far Morata and United far Lukaku. I remember that season very well. First 8 to 10 games, Lukaku share no Morata be share. Morata they say as because here cross or here cross pa. But you see against United, onya bo obi o twin keeper obo say hey, then the pressure so it got to a time also say chances no. When he started scoring, they didn't say the number 9 jersey is a case but Ostati say also say chances. That is when different narratives back out or changing the jersey number from 9 to 29 and the back so I want to know the a lot of bogus excuse. Yes, the pressure on the mountain. Into what there are players that when they come to some certain big clubs the pressure alone ain't me enters and I be club who are own to myself. But him going to Napoli, I think say with a coach like Antonio Conte, how about the 2 top defenders with Anguissa and De Bruyne and even Scott McTominay behind the top 2 strikers. And I think that I will be very happy to say Rasmus Beko and Okwa, it will be an opportunity he has to rely on that Oman and Sweat Makoye and Realisto. Against Crystal Palace in Chelsea ball game. Now, your reporter said there's been an agreement between Crystal Palace and Spurs. Sir, Abrantane Eberiche Eze will join Tottenham Hotspur. Personal terms with the player, everything with the club to club, I confirmed. In the against Chelsea on ball game in the so share. Eberiche Eze ni dimina after the game. Any Niama na it looks like a farewell to the Crystal Palace fans. Now, if you look at the situation, Akwa say Diama Arsenal for no Aberemun Niama mienu. The last time maybe Arsenal I believe that there's been speculation say Andrea Beta, who is the sporting director for Arsenal, free Atletico Madrid buy. Any Mikel Arteta ni boy any agent for the shared income. I'm Arsenal for no. I present the project they are doing and how important this guy will be for them. But at that moment, they had priorities. So Omepe a backup defender, Omepe replacement for Jorginho, any Thomas Partey. And also get a backup for Bukayo Saka, who has been their best player by far for the past 2 seasons. Saka Pra, they see how almost struggle, and they got that backup in Noni Madueke when he was even playing the FIFA Club World Cup with Chelsea. All man number final no buy. And then again, the piece I don't believe say Nkebit Masover mo puzzle no was a striker in their brand and they Victor Gyökeres. Into what I said, you know, a Koyama and the Isaac Eye na Gyökeres, they have to resume training on the 7th. Almost any man because no I catch them so on back. One bar still no in your trade because the boy wanted to move and finally Arsenal for no call back and forth for them to get a deal for almost striker. So a deal for Eberiche Eze, they decided to come to the but almost spend this no money good because listen, Arsenal for win ton player. This summer, the only player Arsenal for turn and wedding Nuno Tavares, £4 million. So this season, Arsenal for business in the transfer marketing now, incoming. A team like Arsenal now say Eberiche is a deal a go through. It means that they are spending close to 270 million, including add-ons. It's a virus bit me Arsenal for transfers no. so far this season at Wama, they are trying to solve whatever issues are. I'm also second for the past 3 seasons behind City and Liverpool. They brought in Kepa Arrizabalaga to deputize David Raya. Now Zubimendi from Real Sociedad 60 million to come and replace Thomas Partey. Christian Norgard to replace Jorginho 10 million. The share bracket team 15 means that or add-ons will become 50 million. Noni Madueke from Chelsea 48.5 million from Chelsea. Christian Mosquera, a defender and as a backup to any 2 center backs, 30 million from Valencia, and Victor Gyökeres 55 million, Eberechi in 64 million when add-ons included. So these are the players Arsenal for Atom this season. And Listo, if you look at this squad, only 2 players, and America just said they are currently an instant starters in Liverpool Arsenal team. In the apparently the Martins will be Mendy and the Victor Gyökeres. So they spent 40-50 on other players. They believe that they can become a very good squad player. They can provide competition for them to fight for the league. And then that's why you see Arsenal for the childhood academy player back. A very easy RHA agreement. And this is a player Spurs any Crystal Palace RHA agreement say and you have a conference league game. In person then na finalize BBA this week training Kai Havertz Akwakupra. So there was a need for Arsenal to buy a player and to buy an attacker. And you see, a do time and ye teams are on me agile, especially in top 5 edition. I always mentioned, sir, I see Arsenal winning, and Medika I can be. You see, the reason why I can't say 7. When I was watching the PFA Awards over the weekend, so I saw a statement. Some people say, "Can Arsenal convince?" No, say yes. Between the teams of Mope League, Arsenal and a team. Or a squad both for more than 5 years, a complete squad, almost 70% of the squad currently have been with the team for a year, the past 5 years. Now, if you look at Arsenal squad now, a bring me about almost squad depth. Now they have players at each place, two players who are equally good at each place. So a better check is an list of Oban. To me, you see, anytime I make Odegaard as some people believe say me Odegaard as but Odegaard is not a playmaker or do Belgian league, and I will say it and say it again. Okay, time I started Odegaard as that was 3 seasons ago. That born the Odegaard a technical, pre born, ball from deep. He's very good, but when it comes to the playmaking role, Unicity LP League, Kevin De Bruyne will give you 18. 20 assists, about 12, 30, 15 goals, and who person compete league now will play make and 3 months goals. Now, in fact, also a prolific striker who is scoring. And Medika can say Victor Gyökeres is now about prolific striker. The records from the past 2 seasons, despite the fact that Oba Brentford and Farm Manchester he's not a good striker. A better is money man. He was at Arsenal Academy 13 or 14 years ago. And if the video now, the last game on Auburn, they told him say he's not good enough. As not about the last game, and he has said it several times. Say he was crying when he was playing his last game for Arsenal Academy. And if Arsenal will improve the offer, the Crystal Palace will let the boy know say Charlie, Yenny Spurs are rich agreement, but Arsenal for the improved offer. But Yenny Spurs when you sign, we can snub them and deal with Arsenal. And boy, no Arsenal for not agree personal terms. I mean, over Arsenal. I believe that he's an upgrade from the left side, and even the number 10 role now, he has obeyed me about as a player. He growing up as a player always or started as a left winger. Even when Zaha was on, there were several days I know me born as a so Ushia Ubebo a 4-3-3 system. Ubit Mabon as the left side midfield and even as a number 10. And Listo per records for the past 2 seasons. When this boy enters into the Arsenal dressing room, he becomes the best dribbler in the team almost setup. Now Virus on far Arsenal for last season. How? Oh, and you know Madueke. Because say, if you are, I'm talking about that numbers now. Last season, this two, Upe players are completely the most dribbles in the league. One, so I think we the first, Jeremy Doku. Then over 100 successful and completed dribbles. No about Mohamed Kudus. Then you come to Antoine Semenyo. Any Indiaye. Then ono Abranta and the Ebereche easy. Especially in the top 10 creators. Omo dribble fast no. Arsenal player bien or completely more dribbles than even Wan-Bissaka of West Ham. So last season, Ebereche Eze listo or completed 57 completed dribbles. The only player closer to him was Abranta de Eddie Saka, or no, the best dribbler in Arsenal team. And you see, if you compare Bukayo Saka, the numbers, any dribbles all completed last season, which was 36 last season. So Obiti say Trossard, any Martinelli, Omu now were in the region of 30-30. So if this player is coming to the setup, arguably he's a better dribbler than any of these players. Last season, Bukayo Saka, Emeki, I think 10 assists, and Oshe, I think 8 goals. The on a year player Omeki assist no more man Arsenal. So this is a team that the winger creating more assists than the playmaker now or your captain more team. So to me, there are several games that Arsenal can still play Martinelli, and if Odegaard won't me and provided that chances won't me yes assist now, they can still play Eberechi Eze. And I remember that time I say I believe that they should add Eberechi Eze to their squad. When he comes in, he can play from the flanks and he can play as that number 10 for them. So Virus beat me the Eberechi Eze ne record and ne output in the Premier League. He is a player that leads to season in season out or show maturity. Season in season out or Chelsea were improving. If you look at the Eberechi numbers here for the past 3 seasons, in 2020-2021, about 36 games, share 4 goals and or share or provided 6 assists. And then in 2021-2022, I want no injury. Almost in most of the games, he played just 19 games and or share 1 goal. He provided 1 assist. But by that 2022-2023 season, he played 40 games in all competition, scored 10 goals and provided 4 assists. Last 2 seasons, about 31 games, he scored 11 goals and provided 6 assists. And last season, 43 games for Crystal Palace, scored 14 goals and provided 11 assists for Crystal Palace. Edomaji FA Cup and also the Community Shield. So he's a player that the past 3 seasons he's been improving, and all the numbers not to Arsenal team no, is he going to solve any issues for them? Virus bet him the opt for data, looking at Arsenal for chances creating from each third attacking her. Mostly Arsenal is dominant. Baby Bukayo Saka went to watch her last season. Baby Arsenal for the ball far more was 40.2%. Bukayo Saka plays. That is the chances of ultimate create in attacking third. Then again, Oko Baby Martinelli and Trossard Ebona. Almost the ball no create 30.4%. So it means that list to what the book Eberechi Eze. I made me believe it. And also with data, Chelsea. So Oba Arsenal team now, he's a better dribbler than any of the players now. Oba means that now they won't rely mainly on Saka because Arsenal ball na no person create chances because Omona Mateno on team create chances. Nto no na Mateno jibo this or the Masaka ya magic bi Arsenal omon team anya go bi dia she. So if Eberechi Eze eba, it means that the attack will be balanced. Eba left side baby issue still because last season the balls on the was just 29.4 and no Bebrina was because Kai Havertz was playing as that number 9 or drop it deep, then no create chance no. Their fan feel more. Odegaard, a very fine player. He's a leader in the team. But I believe that with the inclusions they've making a bit more, and this is a player that Oba under Crystal Palace and just ended game Arsenal ni Man U boy. I came to explain that Arsenal for under Mikel Arteta they almost decided the tempo of the game. But last game on my boy against United, because yes some 1 or 2 changes be according to how they want to play to suit Omo attacker Victor Gyokeres and Kofanti, they will play more of a transitional direct attack football. And this is a player that he has been playing with Mateta. Our Crystal Palace, Omo boy a low block and Omo giving you more of a transition game. So coming in, he can adapt very well with Victor Gyokeres. Now, America said players who are making a move, especially in the European scene, be now moving based on getting playing time, because 1 year when you're playing time and the World Cup you're not going to play. This player, I don't see say there will be any threats and any player be if they are all in their peak. Bet me, I'm a brand to Yaba. Martinelli peak 2 seasons ago. Yes. Leandro Trossard cannot peak. He cannot bench a Eberechi Eze. He might be new to the system. Maybe unconquer a direct starter. Or maybe free bench for him to understand how Arsenal for person ball. But we and you have to adapted to the Premier League. Victor Gyokeres Embo Premier League for so many years. But when he came, he's a starter. So I don't see why Eberechi Eze ain't him boy. And he should be ready. Say anytime you have a White Hart Lane piano, there will be a lot of goals against him. And this is a player that was choosing if it say, I came here 14 years ago when I was a kid. Now, Makoni Nemu Esuya experience, I'm coming back to complete whatever I wanted to do here. He's a boy or you're Arsenal fan, true and true from Krabri. Sometimes they will always choose the club they want to play for. And Adiama Dina and say, as a Tottenham fan, this same issue happened to William. William put the Tottenham fan didn't free by so man bar England why medical say you. Then Abramovich, the player number. So I think so Tottenham fan there. This is where Adia. I mean they know it. I match it. But then Eberechi Eze to me, ni signing alone. I will still cement my position. Say Arsenal are the favorite to win the league, and my factors severally. Almost squad my bomb watch it because any iron slots in as much as OG League in last season. He's in a form of transition as an oil rebuilding. Pep Guardiola same. Ryan Cherky, any Tijani Randes. I can say they are very good additions to the squad. But then who players are? Ya Toma Ba almost first 2 games. Akwa ye bedru baby no. Almost so entimi. So with Arsenal the end day, the idea can say Victor Gyokeres will link up with players near. And now when you're another player who can complement him so well, so Timini Mateta, but Mama Mateta she goes there, and we obey Victor Gyokeres. I think that Arsenal is too, and MYBET.AFRICA were making a lot of signings since Mikel Arteta bar Arsenal. They spent over 600 million, 700 million pounds on player signings, and within that range,
but,
City
you give Emma different figure.
1 billion.
On players since for the past 5 years.
Yes.
Arteta buy 1 billion
for 8 seasons new.
That Arteta buy 8 seasons. Because when Mikel Arteta buy, in this 600
Arteta buy or 7 season.
Yeah.
Arteta 6 season. Because Arteta buy.
Face na last season oh.
And in 8 season. That is also who checking the season and transfers no. Into Arteta buy, they've spent yes, they've spent almost 600 to 700 million. And then
until figure now the man
that was 8 years.
That was 8 years period.
And yet when Mikel Arteta buy, what I wanted to comment but not in person because I have that you are not coming from my virus but then only then 8 years but since Mikel Arteta joining Arsenal, the amount of money they spend in that space, City's cannot spending and do even 300. So Mikel Arteta listo, he doesn't have any excuse. Emedi Kaka. Say players are all on his disposal. Ni players are more if they get into any of the big clubs in the top six, most of them will start. So he doesn't have any excuse, especially with the inclusion of Eberiche is. Omumpo the Osan Kayendu December, no match will be 12 points. That is how I see it. Because Chelsea, any other teams in the place, they are all in transitional. I won't make sure so make MYBE. So Ateta the Emedi Kaka. So when Timmy and G League na Omum Pamono. And Omum Pam Ateta, so they should make sure say Odegaard they didn't chiako.
All right. Ti guswa cheche nsem ni mu yenko matches no. Yenko matches no na fi.
Yeah. But at least to development story back kwa basisia Jeremy Frimpong. We are picking no that. We are picking no car any.
A serious injury.
Yes. We see Liverpool games not till after the international break. So mean be remove. That is September ending crowns and beat me.
That's after the international break. So they will play about 2 matches normal international break. So they will have to look at it near them.
It means that problem. Let me see just 2 games.
Yeah. No, then after the international break.
So over returning after international break.
It means over messages 2 games.
Yeah. Nti yanhwe games no. Midland ewo Europa League. Oni Cups ewo Finland ebo. Nti yanhwe Cups for no. Almost started ebo qualification and they did so well. Omo Muhammadin pa. Last they were from the Champions League. And they were from the Champions League.
Yeah.
And omo ate aba Europa no. And Europa no mo ba no. Omo ba be shia Latvia team from RFS. And omo yield omo free munti. Now they are playing omo last round of games. Nti he omo no free Champions League man na ba to Midland no qualify for what the Europa League and yes, or no qualify for the Europa League. You know, they are coming to meet them. So 2 teams way. First of all, it was a league, you know. Any cups for no. Finland and Denmark League. Obviously, Denmark League no anymore. Yes, saying on one hand. We share Midland. Say Midland Bohuma ne performance so den was through papa Midland Bohuma ne performance was through yension to say round almost rounds of games no, but this is the last round and no the mobile to qualify for the group. Oyi Hebenia Scottish team and oyi ni free mu and Oshia I think Norway and Sweden. You're from Fredrikstad, Norway. Fredrikstad for no bomb home and away. To show a lot of strength. It is clear that Midland will win and will win comfortably in this particular game. You analyze it then because your teams in the move Champions League now down. It's in a whole day. Then I was running to well and share. Obey so obviously Bobo kwa ye friend no Midland obeshe cups ene obeshe cups for no ene ti uko conference league no ma uko conference league na eno so no your teams are all moving from
the Europa
Europa na aba conference league obi say Rosenborg for instance what you say.
And even Fredrikstad they moved from the
almost a movie into omo free mu Europa no omate aba the conference league anti no was say no so we den watcher ba be share teams ahodo Besiktas omo yi ni free Europa no e na waba the conference league into owahodin ye pa e na Ligia was also for instance Hebenia for no and so ye omu free Europa no and no my den omaba down ho Crystal Palace na Fredrikstad and Crystal Palace neighbor Fredrikstad for no show say Ezebebobi
I'm not sure.
Yeah, Eze is part of the squad. Say anything now Tottenham for man read him because he was to play that game
no.
Then after the normal finalize the deal. So this game and
move now.
We are a hijacking deal.
But meaning to Oliver Glass na best start.
No, he's the deal was for him to play. No, so medicals will be after this game. He's with the squad.
To play no acquire medicals.
Oh, that has been the agreement.
Just summer transfer window. They are playing now. One more
that is the
against
agreement
Chelsea.
there because
Yes,
me
so-
who be that Chelsea and Man United agree Cucurella loan move.
No,
But
it
after playing a game, they just
It depends. Now, Crystal Palace, no. Omone boy, no. Confusion be any momentum.
Okay.
They are okay, so Omemana, Omemana Koko. On condition, say, Obi Obebo, yes, our 2 matches were then, at their mind. And a wire then, what you to minty. Arsenal, I agree terms with Crystal Palace, all right. But, Tottenham Hotspur would have also, you know, it is the fact, say, Abraham and I rejected Arsenal, not because of this game. Because the same arrangement now, and come to me Tottenham Hotspur, so I have it. Sankanya transfer window, no. Yes, transfer window, no. Close here, and they are. And I beg us any obey match tonight, then a secure way. But now transfer way, no. To say obey say EDSA, no name no. He decided say, oh yeah, because Cucurella Munyaka sa, I don't know transfer window. I think now close. I think now open. You can stay, play all your games. Work on holidays. After holidays, you join them. And I say, Chelsea, I agree, deal no all right. But who was a player, no? I was who agree as to time I will acquire away. I don't know accept permission. Some man in free camp. No, uncle, any Chelsea forecast any open so called any day.
Most of the time, some of the players they fear say they will get injured in that game.
And
Yeah, but he or no more. He's part of a game plan and everything.
Right, into that is basically what Mumiamu boss are Mumiamu boss na Yamu boss you to me boni na so na be bet me a guide obi a wuti.
Okay, in starting free Midland any Coops game now kind. So we share these two teams are based on form guide one year lucky our Sumbeshi because we share Coops for the last 5 games or maybe we need all their 5 games on my ball. Midland and so last 5 games so maybe we need more 3 about 2 draws. So these 2 clubs on Babishi and it shows say quality and Bibia who both teams can win. But if goals are both teams a share on Midland side no, they score at least 2 goals per game. It meaning to a team be going into the game likely so bet me actually 2 or more goals in the game. Similar to Coops, if they are meeting tougher opponent, they find it difficult to score, but at least they are also scoring a goal per game. In today's fixture be Midland or upper hand to win. Oshe all time MYBET.AFRICA for their mama. Emu edukaka mama 1.23 nti ene bibia chese Coops ensu equita 5 odd 15 odd there's a Midland upper hand of winning this game nti meka charge for call this particular game Midland win and 1.5 optional obetimi ahwe yehwe Slovan any young boys game on bebo. These are 2 strong teams ohwe their games in the qualifiers or muni na ejine mabo. Young boys on the last 5 games, so we're picking just 2 wins with 2 draws, and we lose 1 game. Oshe Slovan and Society with 2 wins, 1 went into penalties, so Timmy winning or and also a 1 loss and a draw. So we have form guide on these 2 teams. Performance wise, they are not up there. Omuntimin do that pick in him say young boys a bit in their leagues and also with Slovan and so also in their respective league. But this will be 1 game. I think both teams are on a high scoring level. We their last 5 games they are all scoring goals. They score at least a goal per game. Midland it's me a 4-1 and a 3-0 in their last 3 games. Same as young boys on it's me more goals in their last 3 games. So call this option the strength they could have both teams are day to pick 1 team to win. Until I'd advise I 4 air corner 1.5 over 2.5 option I'll bet me I call MYBET.AFRICA because amount that upper hand, especially not picking a side to win because then I'm kind they are all not at their peak yet. Into 1 year lock here, Ubedi your friend is saying with performance ama bibia in real conference league so 2 games but Crystal Palace any for this star game on Bebo Crystal Palace would form a quita Oliver Glasner team now. I'm tipping them to go on and win this game comfortably, especially playing at home in London. Adebayo will beat me a bomb. Oshe, they are 1 team. They find it very difficult to be able to score more goals in their games. In their last 5 games on Mabono, game on Masha more goals was against your friend is saying that is Uzbek in their friendly on boy they scored 3 goals. Apart from that, they are one team and they don't get to score more. TNS Crystal Palace.
Okay.
TNS all come game, it's better to go for a Crystal Palace straight win. Yen Kaiser is a competition and they are looking at winning comfortably at home and also going away. Onim the way that away field beat me, especially going to Norway. In Norway, whether no any other thing. So I'm tipping Crystal Palace to win with the Freddy Stars in social. They move from the Europa League. So this is their last stop. They need to fight and fight well to stay in Europe. Into today, remember Crystal Palace a tough game, but I'm seeing Oliver Glasner and Brandt here. So I'm betting me about more than Crystal Palace to win at 1.5 air option. I'm betting me a call MYBET.AFRICA. And here's Santa Clara. Any Sam Rock Rovers game is so and so. Santa Clara in their last 3 games performance in the list over and Sweeney. And this is a game where they need to stand their grounds, especially so Conference League. So with this fixture will be a big fixture for them because in their last 3 games we lose 2 and we're about draw back home. Going into this fixture they need to win, especially playing at home against Shamrock Rovers. Almost they are on top form, especially in the Ireland League. In their last
share way war because the strength of the league can be deceiving.
Yes, and what I'm explaining based on their league, about the European scene. League now they've been able to pick. In their last game on boy, they picked that is a 2-1 win. But so already the Conference League in their last game on boy, they won by 4 goals to 0 against a team I don't think said they are on their level. They're going against a game against Santa Clara. Santa Clara needs to come out, especially with a bad form of Manemuno. There's a game I'm tipping. Says I may call MYBET.AFRICA. It will be a difficult game, but I'm seeing a lot of goals happening. Into Santa Clara win or draw. And also a 1.5 because Shamrock Rovers are Chelsea every game they play. So main to me and more than and even if they are losing, they get a goal. So Shamrock Rovers win or draw and also a 1.5. So 2 games in the Conference League and also 2 games in the Europa League. I share MYBET.AFRICA say bit me far out to harm now to it me a fiscal.
All right.
Yeah. Listo. I think it's an interesting game for and your investor now will come and better. Na one more any other because some of these teams they are some of them are still playing their league but they are very good what in the league you can compare other teams as some of them to Champions League nearby Midland Coups. I think that it should be an easy game for Midland, not so an easy game though, but the reason why I believe say a very easy game is Midland when they are playing at home, so they can they are very good side. I mean, in over 10-12 games in a brand expect and a question that one crown wasn't a competitive game. So Midland home a idea show my and with me I think the Midland will have a convincing win, a 2-0, 3-0 win and over 2.5 goals a bit media basa giving more another game I'm sure Mamo and Sigma all the mock game another game I think say more interest Mamo from this too. In fact, check your last recent games especially in 11-12 games they've lost just 2. But if you look at Sigma for when they are going for away games they are also very good, whether in the Europe, whether in the Champions League qualification and as a Czech Republic or more league Sparta Prague over the weekend Brian Sana show with just 1 goal. They are a good side and when ball away are very good. But I think that this game come straight to why very careful because this game can turn into any other thing because Sigma for a very good side they can punish any other team because if you look at away games when they are very good about Mamo for I mean they don't fancy any European experience or more the European experience in the same Sigma for so in that game be a double chance and over 1.5 for Mamo highly possible in that game. Maccabi Tel Aviv and Dynamo Kiev. It's going to be an exciting game. Looking at these 2 teams now, Maccabi Tel Aviv, in fact, last 4-5 games has been enough. In fact, last 3 games now at the Atuaso. And also, if you look at Obitze Dynamo Kiev, there's also been
Europe
and also Champions League and about Europa.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think that it's going to be an interesting game. This game I see it to be a scoring draw. Both teams, Obia or I say, that's on level from all those and I know Dynamo Kiev they are always ahead of Maccabi Tel Aviv, but in recent times They still have Yamalenko, Shapanenko, other still players, but if they are able to make their moments, I think they can come back home with a point from this first leg game or more Kwakobo. And then another game at least to measure Young Boys in Slovan Bratislava. I think the Slovan for they've also been consistent league games, but then people should be aware of Young Boys for away record. They have a very bad away record. Young Boys for almost last 5 away games, this to winning just one, whether in the Switzerland League and any other EBR, they are not doing so well. And Slovan Bratislava and also a team at least they have a very good home record. I think it will be very difficult for Young Boys to go and win. A double chance and over 1.5 for Slovan Bratislava is highly possible in this game. Aberdeen and Steaua Bucharest, another interesting game. These teams, I think Steaua Bucharest last season was Europa League.
Yeah, this way. Yeah, he was in the Champions League. And not
yeah. I think it's going to be an interesting game. But Aberdeen for no, they have already shown no mobility so meet completely on continental stage in this animal. And then back said they want to hold their side, especially playing at home. In fact, these two, Uko Scotland wanna Anna MYBET, even if Steaua Bucharest will have any advantage over Aberdeen, in Romania, not in Scotland. So this game, I see it to be a double chance for Aberdeen and both teams to score. A highly possible game. So Pauk Babarama team no. Omone Reggie Kabebo Park for no. I mean they have experience, especially Euro. But Reggie Kafono no mkwakuba no. Park for list to Omu defeated Reggie Kafo in the Conference League qualifiers 4 years ago. But circumstances as there one Reggie Kafo list to, especially when they are playing home soil. So Anna they have a very good record for team to say Park to go and score them. That game might be a game Odu anu kotusu bebre ahwa na chese Nema ayi because Regika for list to almost last 5 games, although they lost to Dynamo Zagreb and Omone team and they share in the semi-final game, first leg they lost 2-1. But then they are very good side. I think that game I think say over under 2.5 the likely possible optional median say no beat me. But in the Conference League, Rosenborg any means 0-5. That game I see over 1.5 goals in that game, especially both teams together, especially games are a Norwegian team any a Germany team so who say mostly any goals and ever hacking any CFL Cluj. I think that and also another game these two teams in both of them in their domestic league they've been doing very well. I see this game also to provide over 1.5 goals in that game. Strasbourg any Brongby Ebebo. This game Strasbourg for they have one of the youngest teams in Europe and they are still crashing the French league champion, and I see them so Ombetim winning this game by a 2-goal margin, maybe a 2-0 a 3-0 win for Strasbourg for the years. This is from the blue coat. Selji and Banik Ostranava Ebebo. Selji for Listo especially if I'm me chat bet or the Europa League Conference League last season on my their last 5 games. Yes.
Match be a goose.
Yes. Almost last 5 games over 2.5 body bia. And Ostranava for no say team they've almost last 5 games also Selje especially playing at home are going for a double chance for Selje and over 2.5 goals in that game list.
Okay. All right. Into Yamobo games
so okay. Nti ene me o 5 or tema hwefo MYBET.AFRICA. Lincoln Reds any Braga game on Bebo Braga win and over 1.5. Crystal Palace any Frederick Stark game on Bebo Crystal Palace win and over 2.5. Midtjylland any Coups Midtjylland straight win. Panathinaikos any Sansuspor Panathinaikos win or draw. Shakhtar Donetsk any Severity Shakhtar Donetsk straight win. Slovan any Young Boys 1.5. And Pauk any Raja game on Bebo and also 1.5. Code no 90 KY MYBET.AFRICA.
Alright, my selection for the day, the Conference League and the Europa League, Timandin Edis Kandija, Omoni Ludogorets, a double chance for Ludogorets and over 1.5 goals in that game. Rosenborg any means 0.5 over 1.5 goals in that game. Midtjylland any Coups straight win for FC Midtjylland Intimandi the Hamron Spartans and the Rigas football. Ebe double chance for Rigas and any Malmo and Sigma Olomok. A straight win for a Malmo. Code no a QTKY. QTKY.
Okay, Magellan to score 2 goals. Malmo early payout. Malmo early payout home. And Skedija Tetovo ne Lodogores no under 4.5. SK Brand any AEK Lanaka. SK Brand Obo home in or draw. Zinski Monster any FC Utrecht under 4.5. Braga to score 2. Braga to score 2. Fiorentina away win. And Sparta Prague and Riga over 1.5. Strasbourg and Bromby over 1.5. Maccabi Tel Aviv and Dynamo Kiev away go. Panathinaikos any Sons of Sport. Panathinaikos win either half. Shakhtar Donetsk and Servette Geneva. Shakhtar Donetsk home win. And Crystal Palace and Fredrikstad FK. Crystal Palace to score 2. Into where measurement us no 17 us. 17 us into no the kakra to echa bibia bede ebekoye elho na bibia so ayede akoye tisha no so pa nyame adom ochena ebeba ne ya be ka Chelsea nsem no Chelsea ebo ochena nti yebeba be preview sa match no na other transfers no de yebekọ ene ade a Chelsea guso aye clear out no amu guso aye clear out no mo make sure say players ni nyina be clear obia na branch aye friend no Chiwo na akwese ono de wate din ono so kan mo chiska kase o Chelsea no nti wate din every week bia na akwa kotom ni agent ne nya na adwen se o kwa kopetim e de amani player nanka wa yeden wa be ka Chelsea no mama ne ko one abrante friend Raheem Sterling no pese otena London according to sources as a teams be bring nya komo pe no Turkish teams ni ade but abrante no pese otena London so I say as a London team ben no beba be fa no landing teams ni doso Brentford mo nyina mo ye landing teams Fulham ne boboko e friend no Crystal Palace mo nyina mo ye landing team so ye be hwe say any of them bet me about with the closing embers of the transfer window nyame adom na adom ya ochina ye be sa aba na afi de aka mu ni nyina no